Good morning. I hope you are doing well. Today we have a busy day. It is our end of summer garden cleanup day, and I thought it would be a really great time to give you guys a little bit of a garden tour. We've had our garden for about 4 years now, and I have to say, this year is definitely the year that the garden is absolutely shining. We've had a little bit more of a mild summer here, which I am not mad about at all. It has been like really great weather here in Arizona. So the garden hasn't gotten too scorched. Usually about this time of the year, the garden is looking really sad. She is looking amazing right now. So I want to give you guys a little bit of a tour. And I do have some flowers and just like veg and whatnot that need to be taken out. Some of it has died back a little bit because it's out of season or it's already bloomed. I have some mammoth sunflowers that I planted and they were amazing. Like one of the sunflower heads is like seriously bigger than a dinner plate. So I want to harvest some of the seeds from that and take those down because they are past their prime. I have some other flowers that need to come out as well. I have a poor rose bush that needs to get trimmed back, and I don't know if it's going to revive or not. But yeah, I figured I'd take you guys along for a little garden tour and garden cleanup. So I think it's going to be a really good day. I'm really excited about it. Also, it's a little bit overcasty outside, which is really nice because we have not had an overcasty day in weeks. So I figured today is the perfect day to do a little garden cleanup and show you guys around. Oh my gosh, I just stepped outside for the first time and the birds are just chirping. It is beautiful weather out here. So this is our little back porch area. This year I added these really pretty planters on each side of the door. These are probably my favorite planters. Usually I feel like my color palette is a little iffy, and so I tried something new with these ones. And I was like, I am going to do just like mostly green and not worry too much about like flowers. And turns out these are my favorite. I absolutely love this asparagus fern. This is a perennial. They might get too big for this area, for these planters eventually, but for right now, they're so pretty. They are only thriving here because this is in like shade pretty much all the time. Otherwise, you don't want to plant these in the full sun. These need some shade. Otherwise, they probably will not survive, especially in Arizona. And then over here, this is the back patio. I do have grand plans to take this tin down and do more of a slatted pergola. I'm still trying to convince my husband that that's a good idea. He is convinced that we need the shade, and I'm trying to tell him that the pergola would provide shade, but it would also let more light into our kitchen because especially in the winter, the kitchen is just really dark. And for me, I'm all about the lighting, so I want a really nice bright kitchen. But out here we've got the cute egg chair that I've had for quite a few years now, my hammock that my mom got for me for my birthday a few years ago. And then we've got the picnic table. We love to do dinners out here. They haven't been happening lately because it's been so hot, but this is like one of our favorite places to have dinner is out here on the picnic table. And then Loxley has her cute little swing. And then this is like my pride and joy. I love this plant so much. This is a creeping ficus. Once again, it's probably only thriving back here because it is pretty much in full shade most of the day, especially during the hottest parts of the day. I have a few other creeping ficus that I planted at the beginning of the summer, and they are just not taking off. I can't figure out why. I've looked it up and haven't found the answers to my questions, but hopefully at some point they will just all of a sudden take off. I'm wondering if maybe it's been too hot and then all of a sudden they'll take off later on this summer, but I want those to grow all along this wall. I'll show you guys later. But the creeping ficus, I love it so much. It's so beautiful. Everybody who steps back here is like, wow, that vine is amazing. This is actually, now that I say it, one more thing that I need to add to the to-do list is a couple times a year, maybe like twice a year, I take some green floral wire and I wrap it around the vine to kind of keep it under control, because otherwise, yeah, you can see it's a little out of control right now. That's something that we need to add to the list. So over here is our little like painted paver patio area. I painted these pavers a few years ago, and when we redid the garden, I wanted to do that style where you have the grass in between. And obviously, since we're in Arizona, there was no way I was going to plant real grass. So we did the fake grass in between. I love the way it looks. It's so cute. I have some grand plans for this planter. Hopefully, I can get to it soon. I made a really pretty water fountain this spring out of a styrofoam cooler, and I want to do the same thing for this nice big planter and leave it right here. I have heard that water features are really good for feng shui. And so I'm really trying to get the feng shui going out here. So I want to do another water feature with this, and I have plans to make that happen. But this little area right here, this is what we look at from the kitchen window. And so I wanted to make sure that it really had a focal point, that it really drew you in. But right now we've got a lot of celosia, which is one of my favorite flowers to plant here in Arizona because it is drought tolerant. It thrives in these like warmer temperatures. And then over here is probably one of the prettiest parts of the garden. I think every part of this garden has its own like charm, but this side is just so beautiful, especially right now because this is the first year that we have had vining plants that are actually really truly growing up and completely over our trellises. The spaghetti squash right here has like 6 or 7, maybe even 8 like gigantic spaghetti squashes on it, and it has even completely surpassed over the top of the trellis, which is my dream because it just makes it does I just think a trellis is just so magical. So the magic is really happening right now in this side of the garden. I have every single everything on a watering system. Nothing that we grow in our entire garden is not on a watering system. I think that is an absolute must for a garden, especially if you live in Arizona and especially for a garden this size. Like if we had this garden not on a watering system, we would never be able to leave town. It would take an hour and a half just to water your garden every day. So over on this side of the garden, we have our orchard. It's funny because we don't have any large trees on our property. And for years, I was trying to convince Zach that we needed to plant some trees. And he was really hesitant because our house is old and a lot of houses in this neighborhood have plumbing issues when you have large trees. And so he just did not want to plant any trees. But then when he found out that fruit trees will have a very small root ball that like stays about the size of the tree, like the size of the tree up top is about the size of the root formations down below. So when he found that out, he went absolutely crazy with all of the fruit trees and nut trees that he planted. We now have apricots, cherries, apples, nectarines, peaches. We've tried to grow a couple persimmon trees. We have Asian pears. I believe we have plum. We have an almond tree. So many trees. Love this side of the garden. I can't wait to see how it matures and watch these trees grow big and eat some of the fruit. We had a nectarine off of our nectarine tree just a few days ago. It was the most delicious nectarine I've ever had in my entire life. So this is really exciting on this side of the garden. So along this back wall, I thought when Zach told me his plans to turn the entire backyard into a garden, I was on board with these like beautiful birdie, what is it? I think they're called birdies planters. But the fact that he wanted to do a planter along the entire back of this fence, I thought was a little bit crazy. It's ended up being one of my favorite parts of the garden. We have a really wide property. And so doing a planter along the entire back fence is a lot. So I planted so many sunflowers, so many zinnias back here. Zinnias are such an easy flower to grow in a warm environment, and they are drought tolerant, and they not only have like a really long flower life on the plant, but they have a really long vase life as well, and they're absolutely gorgeous. If anybody is living their tomato girl summer this summer, it is me. Everything you see right here is tomatoes. Every year, our tomatoes just get absolutely out of control. They love to just grow wild and just like spill over the planters, which is beautiful, but a little chaotic. And I like to keep the garden like a little bit less on the chaotic side. But so we have just a ton of tomatoes right now. In fact, I really need to go through and pull a bunch of these off. A lot of them are overripe. We might have a little bit of blight going on, like some things that we need to remedy with the tomatoes. We just have so many right now. It's making me want to learn how to can and make marinara sauce, which might be something that we have to do this fall. But I really should go through and pull some of these off and put them in little baskets and like give them away to friends, or even just like put them on the put them on the front of the house and say free tomatoes because we have so many tomatoes right now. This side of the garden we lovingly refer to as the old garden because this is where it all started. We had a bunch of grass and gravel on the side of the garden before we put in all of our planters. And this was the original. This is where we decided that we love gardening. We love growing our own food. So this side of the garden usually is the side that is absolutely thriving because it has really good soil, because it's had, a ton of nutrients put into it over the years that we've had it. But this year, she's not looking quite as amazing as she normally does, but we still love her. It still has its own charm. We have this other patio table over here that we like to eat at. Usually, we eat at this table when the temperatures are even lower and we don't need the shade underneath the roof over here. So we still love this side of the garden. Hopefully next year we can give the soil a little bit more nutrients and just make sure that the garden on this side thrives just as much as the garden on the other side. I would be remiss if I didn't show you guys my compost bin. I love composting. Don't get me wrong though, I am a lazy composter. But anything in our kitchen that is vegetables or fruits goes into the compost bin, and I really love it. I feel like I'm doing my little part for the environment. I am not good about chopping up everything like really small, to make it ideal for composting. So I know I'm going to have to wait a really long time before we can actually even use any of this compost, but I really just love it. It has been super easy. I wanted to make sure it was something easy because part of the reason why it took me so long to start composting is because I felt really intimidated by it. I felt like it was going to be really hard, but just like tossing everything that either goes bad out in the garden, gets overripe, or anything that we use in the kitchen, just tossing it into the bin. It works perfect for me. And hopefully in a few years, we'll have some really great compost for the garden. Look at the size of this. It's awesome. There's so many seeds in here we're going to be able to use for next year. Look at that. Hard work. Okay, so since this stuff is so woody, it's not going to compost very well unless I could like chop it down like really, really well, and I just don't have the ability to do that. So I have to do it, put it in the trash, which sucks and I feel guilty about, but at least we do have some compost going, so that makes me feel better. So I got done as much as I could for today. It is getting hot already. It's only 10:30. I thought today was going to be a little bit cooler, but it's a warm one. And unfortunately, as I've gotten older, I've developed allergies, especially when I do garden cleanup. My allergies just get so aggravated, which is a bummer because I only started getting allergies like maybe in the last 5 years. So I'm going to go inside and take a shower, and then I'm going to enjoy some of our bounty, but I'm excited to just like eat all the things out of our garden. And I'm also really excited to be revamping this channel. I'm hoping to be showing up here more. So if you liked this video, please make sure that you give it a thumbs up,
Leave me a comment below letting me know what kind of content you want to see. I'm excited for what's to come. So thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you. I love you, and I'll see you soon. Bye.